There are strange things done in the midnight sun by the men who moil for gold. The Arctic trails have their secret tales that would make your blood run cold. The northern lights have seen queer sights, but the queerest they ever did see was that night on the marge of Lake Labarge when I cremated Sam McGee. Now Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and blows. Why he left his home in the south to roam round the pole, God only knows. He was always cold, but the land of gold seemed to hold him like a spell, though he'd often say in his homey way that he'd sooner to live in hell. It was Christmas Day. We were mushing our way over the Dawson Trail, talking or cold till the parka's fold had stabbed like a driven nail. If our eyes we'd close, the lashes froze till sometimes we couldn't see. It wasn't much fun, but the only one to whimper was Sam McGee. And that very night, as we lay packed tight on our road beneath the stove, the dogs were fed and the stars O'Hare was dancing, heel and toe. He turned to me and Cap CC, I'll cash in this trip, I guess. If I do, I'm asking you won't refuse my last request. Well, he seemed so low that I couldn't say no. Then he says with a sort of a moan, it's the cursed cold, and it's got right hold till I'm chilled clean through the bone. It ain't being dead, it's my fearful dread of the icy grave that pains. So I want you to swear that foul or fair, you'll cremate my last remains. A pal's last need is a thing to heed, so I swore I would not fail. And we started on at the streak of dawn. God, he looked ghastly pale. He crouched in the sleigh and he raved all day of his home in Tennessee, and before nightfall a corpse was all that was left to Sam McGee. There wasn't a breath in that land of death, and I hurried horror-driven with a corpse half hid that I couldn't get rid because of a promise given. It was lashed to the sleigh and it seemed to say, you may tax your brawn and brains, but you promised me and it's up to you. This promise true and it's up to you to cremate these last remains. Now a promise made is a debt unpaid, and the trail has its own stern code. In the days to come the lips were numb, and my heart how I cursed that load. In the long, long night by the lone firelight, where the huskies round in the ring, howled out their woes to the homeless snows. Oh God, I loathed that thing. And every day the quiet clays to the heavy and heavier grow, and I went through the, on I went till the dogs were spent and the grub was getting low. The trail was bad, I felt half mad, but I swore I would not give in, and I'd often sing to the hateful thing, and it hearkened with a grin. Till I came to the marge of Lake Labarge, and a derelict there lay. It was jammed in the ice, and I saw a trace was named the Alice May. I looked at it, and I thought a bit, and I looked at my frozen chum, ah, here, I said with a sudden cry, is my crematorium. Some planks I tore from the cabin floor, and I lit the boiler fire. Some coal I found that was lying around, and I heaped the fuel on higher. The flames just so soared, and the furnace roared. Such a blaze you seldom see. And I burrowed a hole in the glowing coal, and I stuffed in Sam McGee. Then I made a hike, for I didn't like to hear him sizzle so. And the heavens scowled, and the huskies howled, and the winds began to blow. It was icy cold, but the hot sweat rolled down my cheeks, and I don't know why. And the greasy smoke and the inky cloak went streaking down the sky. I do not know how long in the snow I wrestled with grisly fear, but the stars came out and they danced about. Once again I ventured near. I was sick with dread, but I bravely said, I'll just take a peep inside, and I guess he's cooked, and it's time I looked. The door I opened wide. And there sat Sam, looking cool and calm in the heart of the furnace row. He wore a smile you could see a mile. And he says, please close that door. It's fine in here, but I greatly fear you'll let in the cold and the storm. Since I left Plum Tree down in Tennessee, it's the first time I've been warm.
It's much longer
He was
than...
a pretty good author, Arthur Robert W. Service. It's a pretty good book.